never ever been involved in the cryptocurrency or digital currency industry. So she will be a very good example of what you can do when you're a busy person at home. She's got 5 children aging from 16 to 27. And I found out this morning that she's half Montenegrin and half Irish. So that will tell me 2 things. She probably takes the sun very well, and she can probably drink most Australian men under the table. But there we go. She's been a fantastic presenter for a big growing team under Darrell Oxley and Goran Hemstrom in Australia. And I've long been an admirer of the style in which she presents this fabulous business. So without any further ado, it's my pleasure to hand you over to Melbourne, Australia, and to Tan Miller.
Thank you, Mick, and thank you for that delightful introduction. Yes, and yes, I do. I do tan up very nicely, and when I did drink, yes, I could drink very well, but those days are behind me. Look, I feel privileged to be a part of this group this morning, so thank you very much. It's 9 o'clock at night for me, and I couldn't think of a better way to spend my evening. What I'm going to do today is to highlight the opportunity that is Mirror Trading International that we are all very excited about. But first, to understand in context why we have such excitement around MTI, you need to understand Bitcoin. And more importantly, what you need to truly appreciate is the trajectory that this sleeping giant is about to go on, because that, coupled with MTI, is what we are all so excited about and why we're all here. So I'm going to break the presentation up into 3 parts. I'm going to give a backstory to Bitcoin, where it's been, where it currently sits, but most importantly, where the experts around the world are saying this cryptocurrency is about to go. Then we're going to talk about MTI, the opportunity that that represents, how you can grow a portfolio of this currency through trading without having to continue to buy it yourself. And then we're going to wrap up with a couple of anecdotal examples of what participating in this program could look like for you. So let's get started in part 1, the Bitcoin story. What is it? Well, it's a cryptocurrency. It was the first ever to come along after the global financial crisis in 2009. It's the biggest. It's joined by over another 7,000 other currencies, but it owns the lion's share of the market, about 65%, and it holds consistently the strongest value. What underpins this currency is a technology called the blockchain. In layman terms, all you need to understand about blockchain technology is that it moves data through a network of computers. And what's important about that, it protects against fraud. Now, Bitcoin has 2 functions. It is a payment system, and you probably have heard of the PayPal announcement not long ago. They're going to roll out Bitcoin as a payment gateway for their 26 million merchants globally. But more importantly, and why we're here, is it's a store of wealth. It's an alternative to other asset classes such as shares, gold, or silver. Now, what's interesting about this currency is that unlike other asset classes, Bitcoin's actually rare. Why is this important? That's going to become increasingly significant as we move through this presentation. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever in circulation. It was built into the algorithms, and that's just the way it is. Now, what's great about it for big organizations is it's very efficient. So you think about if you're moving significant amounts of money around the world, it can be clunky and extremely expensive. I can move cryptocurrency from where I am in Melbourne to Micken Island in the push of a button. It's instant and it's cheap. That's really appealing if you're moving significant amounts of money. It's fully decentralized. Now, what does that mean? Unlike your fiat currency, which is sitting in a bank, cryptocurrencies are decentralized. So they're not owned by any sovereign state or any institution. And there is billions being traded on a daily basis. And we expect that number to grow into the trillions. It's easy to own. Some people think, it's confusing. How do you get your hands on Bitcoin? It's very easy. There are exchanges all over the world. You simply jump online, you use fiat currency to purchase some Bitcoin, and you are now a holder of this currency. Now let's look at the price history. Now I want you to pay close attention to two things here, not just the price, but the circulating supply. We all know the basic economics, supply and demand. When you have a limited supply and an increased demand, that it becomes more valuable. In 2013, now all of these prices, by the way, are in US dollars. In 2013, it had a market price of just under $175, and the circulating supply was sitting at just over 11.5 million Bitcoin. A mere 3 years later, look at the circulating supply now. Because we're getting closer to that 21 million, the demand is increasing, so the price is increased. The supply is diminishing. If we go to this year, a few months ago, we were at a price of just under 13,500 US dollars. Now, if you've been following this currency, you'll know that it's been oscillating a lot higher than that recently. Part of the driver of that was in part, and I'm sure no doubt too, the presidential election. But if you look at the circulating supply, we're at now over 18.5 million Bitcoin. So again, I reiterate, there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin ever in circulation. These guys here, the Winklevoss twins, they became famous over an argument with Facebook. But what's relevant is that they own the first ever registered exchange of Bitcoin. Now, going back a few years ago, I think it was around 2010, they put about $4 million into Bitcoin. And at the time, it represented about 1% of the circulating supply. Now, the market cap for this currency to date is at 250 billion US dollars. Now, that would put the value of their portfolio at around 2.5 billion. Now, how did they make so much money out of Bitcoin? Were they smart? Were they trading in and out? No. They used this currency as a store of wealth. This is the significance of it. Now, interestingly, from a market cap perspective, if you were to put Bitcoin in the top 20 companies in the United States right now, it would topple off Home Depot. It would sit around position 17. That's above Coca-Cola and Disney. So, you know, people talk about Bitcoin being volatile. And yes, it certainly has pockets of volatility. Nobody argues with that. But it has grown consistently about fourfold year in, year out. The Winklevoss twins are certainly not regretting their decision to invest. Now, ICE is the second largest trading platform in the world. They own about 52 exchanges and 8 clearing houses. They also own the New York Stock Exchange. They've developed a platform for these cryptocurrencies. It's called BACT. And what it does, it becomes a gateway to institutional and retail funds to pour into this space. Now, if you're familiar with the crypto world, you'll know that next month will be the launch of the first ever Bitcoin exchange traded fund. It's happening in Bermuda. It's partnered by the NASDAQ, and it will pave the way for trillions and trillions of dollars of pension fund money and retail money to pour into this crypto space. This is why I'm saying you need to understand where this currency is going. It will bring into focus the value of Mirror Trading International for you. This is a sleeping giant. The institutional adoption is rallying around this currency right now. And this man, Tim Draper, he predicted in 2014 that this currency, and at the time it was worth 200 US dollars. He said back then by 2017 it would hit 10,000 US dollars. Well, it not just hit that mark, but it smashed through it. Look at his prediction now. He's predicting that by 2022, Bitcoin will be worth a staggering 250,000 US dollars. Now, he was right the first time. If you agree he's right this time, we can expect in little over a year to have this currency grow from I think it's at 17,500 US dollars today to 250,000. This gentleman here, he's another expert in this space, Tiki Tawari. He's made millions in cryptocurrencies. He is also of the opinion that this this market will have trillions pouring into it. Now, if you look at the institutional adoption that's rallying around it, you can understand why they say this. Morgan Stanley has bought into this argument. The chief economist has been quoted as saying, the driving forces of inflation are already aligned and a regime shift is underway. What are they talking about there? They're talking about the amount of money we've been printing around the world. Do you know the US has printed $4 trillion, flooded their economy with that currency just this year because of COVID? You know, the dollar's not backed by gold anymore. Nixon saw to that in 1971. Fiat currency is backed by air. So when you start flooding economies with currency, it risks inflation. And these guys are concerned about that occurring. Now, Jamie Dimon, he had some very interesting commentary around this currency back in 2017. He had a very public position where he canned this currency, but privately and behind the scenes, he was actually buying it up. Because you've got to remember, a CEO of a private bank like JP Morgan, that opinion carries significant weight. He drove the value of the currency down while he bought it and padded his own pockets. Look at their public position now. This is their position in 2020. Not only do they say that Bitcoin is more resilient than gold, but they also refer to the millennials being that generational wealth transfer. Now, Fidelity Investments, they put together a report, and in that they had Coldwell Banker make some quotes around the generational wealth transfer. $68 trillion of trust fund money is pouring into the hands of millennials right now, and they have an affinity for Bitcoin. Now, look at the growth over the last decade of Apple. Apple sits in pole position of the companies in the US. It's number one. And over the last decade, it's grown by 840%. You can see Amazon's grown by 1,250%. And Netflix, it's grown even larger. It's grown by over 4,000%. If you haven't seen this slide before, I'm about to blow your mind with how significantly Bitcoin has grown just in the last decade. 62,500%. Again, I get back to this skepticism and this opinion that it's volatile. Nobody argues it has pockets of volatility, but as an asset class, its performance over the last decade has outstripped all of them, including Ethereum. Now, you might be sitting there and thinking, oh, well, great, the bull's bolted. No, it hasn't. That growth has been without institutional adoption, and it's been without an educated understanding of what the currency truly is within the mindset of the masses. So if we couple both the masses and institutional adoption, where do you think this currency can go? Now, there are 50 million blockchain wallets in the world. That's where people store the currency. That's as of June this year. That is an insignificant number compared to the amount of people on the planet. And not only that, it doesn't accurately reflect how many people have a wallet, because I have 3. 50 million is not even the population of Africa. So you are still what would be considered an early adopter if you chose to invest in this currency. Again, I'm going to mention Fidelity because they're the second largest private investment firms in the world. They have a couple of trillion under management. They predict that this currency in the next 5 years is going to go as high as $1 million US. Can you imagine? Can you imagine $1 million US? Raoul Pal, he's another one. He's an ex-Goldman Sachs fund manager. He has a significant portfolio in, among other things, Bitcoin, but also gold. Now, he was quoted recently as saying that he's going to take 30% of his existing gold stores and buy Bitcoin instead. And he was asked why, and he answered very simply, because Bitcoin is about to outperform gold. So look, these are just some of the comments. There are so many. Jump on your computer, look at MicroStrategy, 420 million they've put into the currency. The CEO, Michael Saylor, has been quoted as calling Bitcoin digital gold. There's another 13 publicly listed companies that are putting their treasury reserves into this decentralized asset. Just that alone is a significant marker. It's an exciting, exciting period for this currency. And if you hear me and you see what we've just discussed, then you can appreciate that the trajectory is something you can take advantage of if you want to. And the best way to do it is with Mirror Trading International. So we're going to show you how you can passively grow a portfolio of this currency using their program. It's affordable. It's really easy to use. We're all over the world now. You can see over 200 countries. It's extremely simple. I can't emphasize that enough. This system is so user-friendly and it is absolutely secure. So look, let's get into it and let's detail how the program works. This disclaimer is just to let you know that I'm not a financial advisor. So whilst I go through the slides, I will probably share some personal experiences. I have been a member of this business since June of this year. So I'll probably share some information that's relevant to me. That's in my experience. I am trying to stimulate your thinking, but please take this information and make some informed decisions that are suitable for your own personal set of circumstances. Johann Steinberg's the founder of this business. And you know what I like most about this man is that he has decided that he wants to create an opportunity for every man on the street. Now, you might be on this link up today and you already are an owner of this currency and you're looking to leverage your ownership using this program. Well, that's fantastic. But you also might be looking at this for the first time and you don't own any. He wanted to make sure that his business was open to the entire spectrum of people. So there are no barriers to entry in this business, which we'll get to in a moment. But MTI started in 2019. It's based in South Africa because that's where Johan resides. It's registered there and they offer trading services only. So they are not a financial advisory company in any way. This is just a platform that you can opt into or opt out of as and when you want. And all they're wanting to do for us, and they consistently do achieve this, is grow a Bitcoin portfolio for their members. It's literally that simple. Their trading services are in Bitcoin. We trade in Bitcoin. We earn in Bitcoin. There's no fiat currency. And I can tell you now, Johann Steinberg's focus, he is obsessed about consistently maintaining the returns for his members week after week, month after month. And I have been enjoying consistent returns with this program since I joined at the end of June. In fact, my portfolio has grown 168%. Can you even believe that? It's grown 168%. And how? Through the software that they use. So they've got a piece of software that's exclusively licensed to MTI for the benefit of you and I, the members. It's extremely, extremely sophisticated. And they've set their stop losses extremely conservatively as well. That's what makes us so consistent. So how it works is you own some Bitcoin already or you buy some and then you deposit it with MTI. They then use a AAA rated firm to trade for us on our behalf to grow our portfolio. The Bitcoin's not held in MTI, it's held in cold storage. What does that mean? It's air gapped, it's secure, it's insured against theft. So it's offline, okay? So the dashboard that you'll see is an interface for us to be able to watch our portfolios grow, see the reporting of the trades, but the actual currency is safe and secure on a cold storage device. Now that's exactly where we want it. Your balance in trade is always in Bitcoin. It's never ever in a currency. We don't want a currency in Bitcoin. All we're trying to do is grow as much of this currency as we possibly can as fast as we can. So it doesn't matter what's happening out there in the marketplace. Again, getting back to that, that belief that it's volatile. It doesn't matter if it's going up 1,000, down 1,000. What we're doing is consistently growing our pool of Bitcoin each day. And every day that you wake up, you will own more. How? With compound. Every single day, a little bit more gets added to your pool, and that's your new start point. Now, if you understand compound, you're probably paying it. You either have a mortgage, you either have a credit card or a car loan. So you understand compounded interest. But this is a vehicle to reverse engineer it for you so that you're earning it rather than paying it. Now, our dear friend here, Einstein, said it was the 8th wonder of the world. So in his words, he who understands it earns it, and he who doesn't pays it. So what makes this company different? Because let's be honest, they're not the only platform out there that offers trading services in cryptocurrencies. The profitability in MTI comes solely, key point here, solely from our daily trading activity. So if we're not up at the end of the day, nobody wins. Your Bitcoin, the full amount that you put in, is traded with immediately. So you might find other platforms out there that you can deposit some Bitcoin and they might shave some off. You'll have to pay a membership fee, or worse, when you pull it out, you'll have to pay a withdrawal fee. None of that happens in this business. So if you deposit $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, you start trading. As soon as that Bitcoin clears, the company starts trading with $1,000 of your Bitcoin immediately. You don't have to be a trader. Now, we have traders in our community, but you don't have to be one. If you're a member, this is a truly passive vehicle. You put it in and you can literally forget about it. This is what I was referring to about why these guys are different. Just look at all these no's. No fees. There are other organizations out there that charge you, that skim off the top, or that lock you in. This company could very, very easily charge a subscription fee for the luxury of us as the members having the benefit of this vehicle. But Johann Steinberg, again, I reiterate, never ever wanted a barrier to entry. He wanted everybody to have the best possible opportunity to change their set of circumstances, or if you're at the other end of the scale, to simply enhance them. And there are no withdrawal fees either. So this is the trading profits. This is the nuts and bolts, because this is why we're here. Of all the available profit at the end of each day, the lion's share, 40%, go to us, the MTI members. 25% goes to the trader, 10% goes to MTI, rightly so, and the balance, the other 25%, is made up of the marketing referral program. So MTI chose to use that model to grow their business globally. Now, they could have put satellite offices all around the world. They could have employed hundreds of thousands of people and paid salaries, but they didn't choose that model. They've chosen a referral program, of which I've chosen to participate, to really put this on steroids for my family, but you don't have to do that. But that's the vehicle they chose, and that's where that 25% marketing fee goes. Now, let's look at the trader. Let's break that one down. Some people think, well, why does the trader need the members? Why even come to us and open this up to us at all? Because it would be a very fair question. Let me put this to you. If you're a trader and you have 100% of the trades and you put in $1 million, you'd be making good money. But if you had the opportunity to have 25% of a pool that currently sits at a value of, I think, around $300 million, wouldn't that be a smarter way to go? These guys thought so. This is the beauty of this business. Every single person attached to MTI, from the little member like me, to the trader, to the company, and everyone in between, everybody is making money out of this program. It is absolutely fantastic. And member profits are from trading. So let's look at an example. Let's say Jane puts in 1 Bitcoin into the trading pool And on the day, there's a 1% gain. In Bitcoin terms, Jane has earned 0.004% of a Bitcoin. So of course, we now know her new baseline the next day is 1.004. And of course, the next day it goes again and goes again. That is compound. What is compound's best friend? Time. We all know that 1 cent doubled every day becomes 5.3 million in 30 days. The longer you keep this in, the greater compound affects the growth of your portfolio. It's just that simple. It's fully automated. As I said, you go to sleep, you wake up, you've got more Bitcoin. There are statements in the back office which are available to all of us to view. You can't see them here, but these are available to everybody. As I mentioned, we have in our community of members, people from all walks of life with all levels of experience. And there are traders within our community. So this information for them would make a lot of sense and would be very interesting for me. I just like to know that it's there. Withdrawals. Now, this is important because some platforms out there will inhibit your ability to perform, or they'll even charge you for a withdrawal fee. In our platform, you can withdraw whenever you want. Whenever you want. There's no limit to your withdrawals. Now, it takes about 48 hours. They say allow 48 hours for your withdrawal to be processed. I've withdrawn regularly. I've done it in as fast as 2 hours, I think was the fastest. And I've also taken 48 hours and a couple in between. So the benefit of this program though is as you're building your portfolio, if you want to pull some out to live, we've heard of someone buy a car, that's the whole point of this. This program is designed to enhance your life, not to inhibit it. Withdrawals don't occur over the weekend though, just simply because there's nobody at corporate to do it. So it's just that simple. So look, let's look at our track record. Here is a typical example of a week's results. As you can see, the week we had a 2.5% return and the overall monthly income was 8.5%. I don't know about you, but I don't know any bank in the world that could give you a weekly return of 2%. They'd be struggling to give you 2% for a year. Now, from 1 year, from September 2019 to this year, same month, look at the percentage of profit members have realised. It's almost baffling. These figures, by the way, are absolute fact. This is what we have achieved to date. It's exceptional. The value of compound just puts this thing on steroids. And you can see the average daily profit is just under 0.5%. Here are some more trades for you to cast your eye over. There's a lot of detail here, but just let me assure you that in my experience, week after week after week, I've enjoyed 2% returns, thereabouts, a little bit over sometimes, and an average of anywhere from 8 to 10% a month. That's been my personal experience, and it's been absolutely consistent. So look, how do you get started? Very simple. I was in your shoes back at the end of June. Somebody sent me a referral link. I simply filled in my details and created a profile for myself. And then I just funded the platform with my Bitcoin. That was it. The very next day, I was trading. And the day after that, you guessed it, I woke up with more Bitcoin. Now you can start for as little as $100 US, and trading starts automatically, as I've already stated, and your profits are compounded automatically. What does that mean? You don't have to worry about it. Each day, at the end of each day, any profit that you earn is automatically added to your pool. You don't even have to think about it. It is truly a passive income. So as I have highlighted, there is a referral program. If you really captured the vision that I created at the front end of this presentation, if I've really stirred some energy in your belly about that, and you see this, you get it, and you want to jump on the bandwagon and follow the top end of town, you know, they might be right. If they are, you'll probably want to own a lot of Bitcoin. If you want to really turbocharge this opportunity, you can. go back to the person that invited you here today, have a chat to them about what that looks like. It is completely optional. If you just want to be a passive investor, I have plenty of people in my organisation that are, and they're enjoying the returns on a monthly basis. So to recap, is MTI a company of integrity and transparency? In my personal experience, absolutely. They've been consistent all the way through. They have an impeccable track record with their trading. They've set it conservatively. That suits me. I'm not a risk taker, so we're taking a consistent bite out of the apple every day, and that sits well with me. Your profits are all in cryptocurrency, all in Bitcoin, as we've stated. Bitcoin is our base currency, and it is secure on that cold storage device, which is air-gapped, and all your bonuses are paid from trading profits only. Key point there, all bonuses are paid through trading profits. So there's no moving any profits from Peter to Paul, none of that in this organisation. It's compound, guys. Compound is what's driving the growth of your portfolio for you. And as I mentioned, the optional referral program. So that was Bitcoin, that's MTI. Now let's bring this thing together and have a look at how it could work for you. We're going to use two examples, one where the price of Bitcoin drops, and then we'll move on to one where the price of Bitcoin increases. We're going to be conservative here, and we're going to work on an average of only 7.5% per month. You saw on the slides previously, it's over 8, and sometimes it's been higher than that, closer to 10, but let's just say 7.5%. So you're going to buy 2 Bitcoin. You're going to put one in cold storage, and you're going to put the other one in MTI. You paid $18,500 for this Bitcoin. After 12 months, based on the data we have collected, we know, if history is any indication for the future, that 1 Bitcoin in MTI will grow into just under 2.5 Bitcoin. If the price dropped to 13,000, the Bitcoin you bought and put in cold storage is sitting over there lonely all by itself, and it's now worth $13,000. You've just lost 5.5. The Bitcoin you put in MTI, you now have 2.5 Bitcoin, which is equal to a value of just under $32,000. So can you see the value of this compounded growth at work? But what if you doubled down and went again and you held it in MTI for 2 years? Remember I said that compound's best friend's time. And worst case scenario, let again, it drops. So now Bitcoin's at 10,000. Again, remember I said I don't really care what it's doing out there in the marketplace. It doesn't really matter to me if the price goes up or goes down. This is why I said that. So your single Bitcoin sitting out there in cold storage after 2 years is still just one of them, and now it's worth $10,000 US. The Bitcoin you put in MTI after 2 years, you now have 6 of them. 6, you own 5 more than you started with, and you've got over $60,000 in Bitcoin value. Don't let this last line scare you, but if you put your Bitcoin into MTI for 60 months, look how much Bitcoin you'd own. Let's get to the positive example. Let's say you bought it again, 18,500. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put 1 Bitcoin in cold storage and 1 in MTI. We know you're going to have just under 2.5 Bitcoin after 1 year. And let's say it goes up in value. Your 2.5 Bitcoin is now worth a whopping $50,000. Don't forget, you still got your other little one sitting over there in cold storage. It's still by itself. Yeah, it's gone up. Congratulations, it's now worth 20, but we're going to go again. We're going to double down. After 2 years, your 1 Bitcoin turns into 6. Price is going to increase to 25,000 a Bitcoin. Look how much you've got now, 151,000. Again, you've still got 1 sitting over in cold storage for 25,000. I hope that is clear. This is why we are so excited. This is why people like Mick and myself and Frank and Daryl and Dolores and all of us are so excited about this business, because it is allowing us to organically grow a portfolio without having to continually put our hand in our pocket to buy it. Couple that with the potential of where this sleeping giant can go, my goodness. So that, I mean, that can just blow your mind. So look, I hope I have done what I set out to do. I wanted to stimulate your thinking. I want you to start looking at this currency. Start doing your own research. We are moving into some of the most troubling times. We've got no idea what printing money around the globe is going to mean for us economically into the future. But $400 million is being poured into this space on a weekly basis from the top end of town. Family offices, high net worth individuals, these guys know something. So do yourself a favor and do some research. This site here was put together by one of our team members, Goran Hermstrom in the Netherlands, residualprofit.club. It's a fantastic resource. I encourage you to take a look at that. I thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I hope that you have a great day. And I thank you for letting me be a part of this, this experience with you today. Thanks, Mick.
Thanks a million, Tan, and thank you for a fantastic presentation. And all the way from Melbourne, Australia. My late uncle Leo was a harbour pilot in Melbourne for 35 years. And so I still have family there. Thank you. Fantastic presentation, Tan. I think everyone will agree. And I'd like to bring in a couple of guests now. One is your immediate mentor and upline, and he's from the Gold Coast in Australia. So a few words to your benefit, I think, from our friend Daryl Oxley.
Thank you very much, Mick. Actually, I used to be from the Gold Coast. Welcome everyone to the link up, no matter where you are around the world. Apologies for my voice. But I used to be from the Gold Coast, but we've moved up to a beautiful place called Airlie Beach, which is probably a couple of hours flight from the Gold Coast, further up into northern Queensland, where the Great Barrier Reef is, beautiful islands, etc., etc. So, and that's partly thankful to what you've seen here tonight. It's given my wife and myself the opportunity to really have a lifestyle based on the residual income that's coming from this company. Just amazing to listen to Tan there. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that 5 months ago she had no idea of cryptocurrency, knew nothing about it. She's a great student. She's become an expert on it. But more importantly than all of that, you heard in the introduction from Mick, she's got 5 gorgeous children. She's a mum based down in Melbourne, and she's building this for one reason. I know her reason. She's spoken to me at length about it, and that is really to give her family a lifestyle. And as she touched on at the end there, we do live in troubling times. There's no question. We don't know what the future holds economically. We see a lot of things happening, but certainly this is one way, not the only way, but one very, very good way where you can secure your financial future by stepping into an asset class that is unquestionably the fastest growing out there and likely to continue to be so into the coming years and maybe decades. That's not my words. They're the words of people far smarter than us. And on top of that, you also had presented to you tonight an opportunity where you can simply do nothing more than deposit some of that currency into a program where their brand promise is grow it. And they've had a track record of doing that consistently. You saw that there. So what does that mean to you? Well, it means in the coming months, years, that you can get yourself in a position where you're financially secure. You don't need to worry too much about what's going around the world. You know, from a financial point of view, you're secure. And that's what MTI is about. That's really the objective of the CEO, the board of directors, all the corporate staff, and in fact, the leadership here, Mick, who's organised this event, and Tony and Pete, and many of the people that are around and been helping us develop this in Australia, where Tan and I come from, and people all around the world now, they're taking advantage of this. So I can't implore on you strongly enough to take heed of the words that Tan shared with you tonight, and don't get too caught up. Just get involved. It's free. There's no downside when it's free. There's no cost associated with this whatsoever. People go, yeah, but aren't I at risk with what I put in? Yes, we can't deny that. What you do choose to put in, but you can start wherever you're comfortable. And in our opinion, the risk we might take here is far less than we see people dishing out their hard-earned cash into other programs without a thought. So at the end of the day, it's your choice, of course, and we respect that. But we do ask you to strongly consider this from your point of view and how this can help in your future. It's done amazing things for Tan in 5 months. I've seen it, I've watched it. It's done amazing things for my wife and myself. And there's plenty of people on this call I'm also aware of that's done amazing things for in a short period of time. Why not you? Why not you? So come and join us, have some fun, and secure your future. Thanks, Mick. I'll hand back to you.
Thanks a million, Daryl. That's Daryl Oxley from Australia. We're going to hop around the world now. And a friend of mine who also does two of the corporate presentations each week in South Africa. We've got to know each other a little bit. We were on a call yesterday, as many leaders were, with our CEO, Johan Steinberg, our COO, Charlie Ward, and many of the other elements that make up MTI, including our very, very highly respected legal arm. And I'd like to introduce to you now, for his own experience in MTI, Mr. Andrew Lomax.
Thank you, Mick. Much appreciated. And thank you for the invitation. I have been...
Andrew, perhaps if Tan would just stop sharing the screen, we could all see you and your lovely beard.
It comes and goes.
Okay, off.
Yeah, it has its moments. So I've been an active member of Mer Trading International since March this year. Really only fully understood the vision of the company around about that time. And a lot of people have been saying, 2020 has been the worst year of their lives, and it's had all its challenges and all its hiccups. To be honest, COVID-19 is probably the best thing that ever happened to me, because it caused me to stop and focus. Instead of running around chasing my tail in conventional businesses, I have a small construction company. I'm actually a pastor by profession, but not employed by any church. And MTI caused me to the COVID caused me to just stop and focus. And I put in the time and effort and looked at MTI for the value that it could offer. Decided to take up the optional referral program. And working from the end of March until the beginning of October, I managed to turn $220 worth of Bitcoin into one full Bitcoin. And that one full Bitcoin in trade now, along with the wonderful residual income that we earn through the binary structure, I'm now able to replace the income from the conventional businesses and start to focus on the things that I'm passionate about in life and finance a ministry and do the things that I really want to do. Obviously, taking into account that I have a young family and doing all the things that I want to do would benefit them too. So MTI is a life changer. Give it the attention that it deserves. And the only risk that I have found in this opportunity from start to finish is personal greed. So you got to manage that. That's the only thing you have to manage in MTI. You can put in whatever amount you would like. You can grow it as quickly or slowly as you choose, depending on your participation. And you can control your own personal account. You're not paying anybody anything. It's not costing you anything to become a member. There are no fees, remember. And you just have to control that little demon of greed, and you'll be able to really turn your life around with this opportunity.
Andrew, your personal interpretation of the people we're getting to know who are running this company?
I honestly would have to label them in the same category as King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. They're incredible people. And the core values of this company are really just expressed in their lives and in their characters. And as I'm growing in the business and getting to know them personally as well, you just see more and more of that. And the way that they really stick their neck out, not to protect the company, but to protect the members of the company is really, really commendable.
Thank you very much, Andrew. We might put you on the spot and ask you maybe to be a guest presenter on this forum in an upcoming Saturday when Pete is back. We can have a little South African soiree if you'd grace us with your presence as a presenter someday.
I would be glad to oblige. No problem at all.
And I'll reciprocate. We've one more person to speak, and we're bouncing back around the world now. We're going to go to Christchurch in New Zealand, and a fantastic networker and a fantastic guy, Mr. Frank Stace.
G'day, Mick. How you doing? Look, thank you for the opportunity to just spend a couple of minutes really quick to give a few thoughts on MTI. I mean, I got a background in IT, information technology, and I got interested in building a property portfolio back then in the late 90s. And through that, I was able to retire relatively early, some 17 years ago. And, over the last 17 years, I've mainly been concerned with residential property deals. And back in August 2017, that's when Bitcoin hit my radar, and I got really interested very quickly. And I spent 3 months researching everything I could find and watch on, YouTube, all around the net. And I began to understand that Bitcoin's underlying technology, blockchain, was really the big gold nugget here. Back then, of course, banks were still trying to kill off Bitcoin, and people were saying all sorts of things about it. It was going up and down. But once I understood the wider implications, the commercial implications of blockchain, I knew that Bitcoin and the other coins like Ethereum were here to stay. So I made a decision. And in November 2017, I tipped some money into the market. Not as much as I really should have, but a considerable sum, a multi-five-figure sum. Anyway, I doubled that before Christmas, and I'd just never seen anything like it. Fast forward to June 20 this year. I mean, I just thank God. My lights were on, and I was present when I heard your presentation, Mick. I was just invited one evening to sit in and have a listen, and that turned me on to this opportunity, because as a Bitcoin hodler, for me, it was a simple decision. I've been holding some Bitcoin for a few years, and it remained the same amount of Bitcoin no matter what happened in the market, right? The market can go up and down. I still had the same number of Bitcoin. And so once my initial questions were handled, and they were handled rather quickly and professionally, I decided to dive in. And I guess in the 5 months and 10 days that I've been in, I've not only retrieved my initial investment, but as a result of taking advantage of the optional referral program, sharing this around. I mean, it's hard to keep this a secret when you're making 8 to 10% a month return on your, on your funds, and your funds are on call. So after, I look at what we've got developed today, and I'm just blown away by it. I know that my business has been blessed. I mean, I've developed another income stream, essentially equivalent to, I think in terms of property, right? So it's at least equivalent to 6, maybe 7 investment properties per week, and that's passive. And that excites me no end. I mean, I didn't have to buy the properties and wrap up that sort of capital to produce that income. So I'm forever grateful to my introducer, and that was the guy that shared it with me, Mark Boscarato out of Melbourne. Of course, Daryl Oxley, Goran, those names have been mentioned tonight. Wonderful leadership right there, right back through to yourself, Mick, Tony, Tim, and right back even to Peter in South Africa, because I've realized that if any one of them had said no through that process, I wouldn't have seen it when I did. So look, if anybody's listening to this today, maybe the first time or maybe a week or two down the track, and they're listening to a recording of this, I just encourage you to look a bit more closely at this. It's worth some time to investigate. And, with where Bitcoin's sitting, for all the reasons that Tan said earlier, this is really the right time to get turned onto this thing and work it out for yourself. And with that, I'll hand back to you, Mick. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. So we've heard from Frank, and thank you so much, Frank. We've heard from Daryl. Thank you, Daryl. And of course, Andrew Lomax in South Africa. Thank you to Andrew as well. But my special thanks to our guest who made it so professional, so relaxed and so informative, and that is from Melbourne, Australia, Tan Miller. So that's our Super Saturday. There's always surprise guests. There's always surprise testimonials. And we'll be running it in the run up to Christmas each and every Saturday. Not over Christmas or New Year's, of course, but we've got a few to go. So please join us again next week for the Super Saturday. Thank you so much for your attention. Please get back to the person. Hello?
There are no questions.
Well, there can be if you wish. There are none in the chat box.
Okay. No, I wonder, you're talking about somewhere between 2 and 8% per month. I've done currency trading with Forex, and I don't know anybody who was making that type of return on Forex trading.
We're not trading Forex, we're trading crypto, John.
But the basis of the profits I understood were from Forex trading?
No, we're trading in the cryptocurrency market 5 days a week from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
The results are conservative. And the system, which cost $14 million, well, it cost $11 million and $3 million of additional tweaking, is set on a conservative basis with very tight stop losses. We could be more aggressive in the market, but Johann Steinberg wants, for instance, last week it was a 2.34% return. This week it's about a 1.3, 1.35. I haven't done the exact figures. So it can be a little variable, but they've only had one loss-making day in their entire career of over 18 months. And that was on the 7th of July when they lost about 0.09%. And in the profit share model we use, everybody took a retrospective step that day. So MTI took a step backwards, the traders, the leaders bonus, the binary, and of course, all of the community as well. But the following day, we bounced back very strongly. So that was a bit of a godsend to us who were defending a 100% record, because a 100% record can never be held for too long, as any manager will tell you. So it's a very conservative compared to aggressive programs that are out there. But with conservatism comes low risk. What's also coming up in the next month is the KYC system to ensure that nobody's cheating the system. It's going to be one account for one person. What's very good is they're also developing with their legal attorneys tangibility, willability for the asset which is tangible and you can leave in your estate. And what's even more interesting is that there is independent verification that every single Bitcoin on behalf of the members down to the 1/10,000th of a piece or one Satoshi will be verified independently as existing at the broker side. And when you have the Bitcoin all in full proof of existence and every single withdrawal, I know we've had a couple of problems in the last couple of weeks with the withdrawal size of the queues. The average withdrawal on a monthly basis is about 5,000 Bitcoin. Each and every Monday alone, there's 500 Bitcoin, 500 to 600 Bitcoin. We heard that yesterday from the CEO. So when all your withdrawals are up to date, and there's no complaints in that regard, and when all your Bitcoin is there and you have a conservative return, we think this is probably the most unique company we've ever come across, and I don't think anything will ever match it. When you look at the magic formula that Johann has created, it's wildly compliant because there isn't a scintilla of profit or a scintilla of commission taken from any new Bitcoin entering the system. And no new Bitcoin needs to enter the system, not like other programs where there's deductions from the Bitcoin, there's deductions from your progress, there's deductions from your withdrawals most of all. MTI even absorbed the 40,000 blockchain fees for the 40,000 withdrawals that they affect every month. And because we've had a delay, because of the size of the queue coming up to Christmas, I guess, in withdrawals, which are not processed over the weekend, the CEO is making himself available on an hour-by-hour basis at the top of the hour to take over the next 48 hours downloads of requested withdrawals to make sure that everything is clear by Monday. So that's the type of guy and that's the type of company we're working with here. It's like something we've never seen before. So, does any questions from anyone else? Happy to try and answer them at least.